Two victims of the anti-Semitic firebombing attack in Boulder are still in the hospital tonight as investigators identify additional victims with minor injuries. Now up to 15 victims total, 8 women, 7 men, ranging in age from their 20s to their late 80s. Many of the victims are members of Boulder's Jewish community. One, we're told, is a Holocaust survivor. They were part of a peaceful gathering, raising awareness about the Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Tonight, there is a candlelight vigil for the two firebombing victims still in the hospital.
Like so many of you, I'm feeling a lot. Shock, grief, anger, fear, and also strength. Your presence here tonight brings more than comfort. It helps bring a process of healing.
That vigil just started at the Jewish Community Center in Boulder. The center says they've brought in extra security and law enforcement just to be safe. Since the attack, the center's helped community members connect with victim services, mental health resources, and fundraise for extra security at Jewish community events like the Boulder Jewish Festival this weekend. Earlier today, state and local political leaders and various faith groups gathered with hundreds of community members at the Boulder County Courthouse for a unity rally. Boulder's leaders promised they will stand against anti-Semitism. Rabbi Mark Soloway, whose congregation includes multiple victims from the attack, told us the Jewish community has long felt unsafe due to rising anti-Semitism, both abroad and at home.
The whole Jewish community is reeling, shocked that this hideous hate crime could happen right here in downtown beautiful Boulder, Colorado. And yet, we have seen this coming. We have seen this coming. And Jews here and all over America and all over the world have not been feeling safe. Demonization of others must stop. The hate speech, including in our city council, must stop.
Witnesses say the suspect in the attack yelled "Free Palestine" and told investigators he wanted to, quote, kill all Zionist people. He faces a federal hate crime charge and dozens of state charges, including attempted murder, that could put him in prison for life. The suspect is an Egyptian national who traveled to the U.S. in 2022 and overstayed his visa when it expired in 2023. His family was taken into ICE custody yesterday. The White House said they could be deported as soon as possible. Late this afternoon, a federal judge ordered their deportations paused until they're given due process. You're going to have deja vu when you open your ballot in November because you will be asked again to raise income taxes on high earners to pay for school meals for all students. Coloradans already voted yes on this in 2022, but round one didn't bring in enough money. Our Marshall Zellinger found there's still no guarantee round two will either.
School meals have been free for Colorado students, regardless of need, since voters approved funding in 2022. The funding came from Proposition FF, which raised taxes on households making more than $300,000 a year.
Can we continue taxing higher earners just a little bit more?
Democratic State Representative Lorena Garcia sponsored the bill that will put two ballot issues in front of you in November. One asks your permission to keep or retain $12 million that the state underestimated when presenting voters' information on Proposition FF in 2022. The other ballot issue asks you to, again, raise the taxes on the 194,000 households earning more than $300,000 a year.
If we are to pass both questions, the retain question and the raise question in November, that we will then surely fully fund healthy school meals.
At least the meals part. Proposition FF originally also promised raises for lunch workers, buying locally grown food, and food-related grants for nonprofits. Even if voters approve both questions in November, Congress in Washington, D.C. could affect if the money covers all meals. Any changes to SNAP food benefits for low-income families or even Medicaid could alter how much the state and school districts pay towards school meals.
You could have a student at an elementary school that qualifies for the program, so those kiddos get free meals, but you could have a middle or a high schooler at a school that you would have to pay for their meals.
In Cherry Creek schools, school meals have increased from 4 million served 2 years ago.
We served just shy of 6 million meals this year.
The more meals served, the more money needed for the meals part of Proposition FF. And if there are any changes to food assistance from Congress, the other parts of Prop FF, like raises for workers, locally sourced food, and food-based grants, could still be looking for funding. I reached out to Democratic Governor Jared Polis's office about these ballot issues because he added what's called a signing statement when he signed the bills, putting them on the ballot. A Polis spokesman told me the governor would like to prioritize additional funds going directly to people through a SNAP food benefit match, if needed, rather than grants to nonprofits, one of the provisions of Prop FF. So it sounds like if there are changes to food assistance benefits, Kyle, the governor would like to see that addressed, funding there, before fulfilling the other three promises of Prop FF.
There's the potential, though, right, that the state legislature gets called back sometime like in the early fall if Republicans in Congress blow a huge hole in the state budget and they have to rush in to fix a bunch of things.
Yeah, this is just one of the areas where the state may say, oh my gosh, we have to start spending money on things that were covered somewhere else. We have to start making other cuts somewhere else. So this is just one of many things that lawmakers might need to look at.
Marshall Zellinger, thank you. My pillow guy and election denier Mike Lindell is in trouble at his defamation trial in Denver. He got caught violating the judge's rules by texting and tweeting about the case from the courtroom and by going on his Frank Speech TV network where he talked about other witnesses' testimony. That's a no-no because Lindell's going to be called to testify himself. We asked him earlier this week if he was about to get busted by the judge.
No, you didn't hear what she just said.
Okay.
So you didn't listen.
What didn't I
You didn't listen. You probably won't put that part on your little camera here. I'm following exactly what the judge said. You're the one with the smug look on your face.
This morning, the judge had something to say about that. Not the smug look on her faces. No, she had something to say about Lindell violating her court orders. So Lindell promised the judge no more texting and tweeting from inside the courtroom and no more media interviews for the rest of the trial. Judge then shows him not to hold him in contempt of court. And with that, Lindell's scheduled interview here on Next on Friday is off the schedule. Lindell is accused of defamation for claiming without evidence that Denver-based Dominion voting systems, and one Coloradan working there in particular, Eric Coomer, rigged the 2020 election against Donald Trump. Coomer was cross-examined by Lindell's team in court today. They suggested that Coomer's reputation had actually been ruined by other people accusing him of treason and election rigging before Lindell said it. Coomer acknowledged that his reputation was shattered even before Lindell's attacks. Lindell's team says Coomer is only suing the pillow guy because he's richer than the other people who also accused Coomer of a treasonous election rigging. Today, jurors also heard from Matt Crane, a former Republican elections clerk in Arapahoe County, who now leads Colorado's County Clerks Association. Crane testified that Coomer had an excellent reputation in the elections world, but that Coomer can't get hired there anymore because no company wants to become the new target of election rigging conspiracy theorists like Mike Lindell. A nonprofit leader told me recently, we see ourselves as an emergency room. We try to stop the bleeding. He was talking about the financial emergencies that hit families and how they as a nonprofit try to stop the bleeding by providing those families with food and other essentials when something unexpected upends their lives. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the Help and Hope Center as it gives both to Coloradans. The Help and Hope Center serves families in Douglas and Elbert counties. As need has grown significantly, that nonprofit has had to reduce how often families can visit their food pantry to pick up 2 weeks' worth of groceries. Used to be one visit allowed per month, now it's one every other month. Last year, Help and Hope Center gave families more than 1 million pounds of food. The Help and Hope Center tells me that many of the Coloradans it serves have recently dealt with an unexpected challenge that leaves them unable to pay their bills, whether that's a medical emergency, a divorce, a car breakdown, a job loss. They say often these folks make too much money to qualify for government assistance, but can't get by in the moment. They say that most of the families they serve don't need long-term help, they just need to get back on their feet. This week's microgiving campaign is in collaboration with our 9 Cares Colorado Shares food drive as we fight hunger across Colorado. And the Help and Hope Center has lined up an incredible $30,000 matching gift from a generous donor in the community. So the deal is every dollar we raise together will be doubled, up to $30,000 worth. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. Your 5 years worth of microgiving that's raised $15 million proves that $5 donations matter and they add up fast. So as always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. And more than 5,000 of you have signed up to make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once, Each month, your donations automatically split among all the nonprofits we feature. It means an additional $30,000 for our recent microgiving campaigns.
Under no circumstances am I going to let public safety or public forecasting be touched.
Well, meteorologists have warned that mass government layoffs could impact forecasts during hurricane season. Well, now federal weather agencies are hiring once again. And a theater company that puts actors with disabilities in the spotlight finds itself in the crosshairs as the Trump administration goes after arts funding and DEI. If the Democrats running to challenge Republican Congressman Gabe Evans are going to carpool to their debate, they're soon going to need a bus. Another one joined the race today, with one more expected soon. The 8th Congressional District, Adams and Weld counties, expect to be one of the most competitive districts in America next year. The latest Dem in the race is State Treasurer Dave Young, former educator out of Greeley. He's been state treasurer since 2018. Before that, he was a state rep at the Capitol. He served on the powerful Joint Budget Committee. He'll likely lean heavily on that fiscal policy experience in the primary. His campaign announcement today focused on economic uncertainty in the 8th District. He called out tariffs and cuts to government programs like Medicaid. The Democratic primary already includes former Representative Yadira Caraveo, who lost the seat to Gabe Evans in 2024, and 2 state reps, Manny Rutinel and Shannon Byrd. Evans has been a staunch supporter of President Trump since he got into Congress, and he's strongly defended Republican plans to cut Medicaid. Would you go back to a job where the boss fired you without warning? What if your boss actually let his friend Elon Musk fire you? Would you go back to that job? The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is now bringing back mission-critical positions and reassigning staff after weather experts warned that layoffs had left NOAA short-staffed headed into hurricane season. Hundreds of NOAA and National Weather Service employees have been fired since February as part of the massive cuts to government agencies, and it led to concerns about whether they were prepared to handle what's predicted to be an especially active Atlantic hurricane season. Well, now the agency is sidestepping the federal hiring freeze to bring on an unknown number of field staff to, quote, further stabilize frontline operations. Despite those openings, the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick told a Senate committee today NOAA is fully staffed and still focused on rooting out wasteful spending.
I was able to have them exempted from the hiring freeze. We care about meteorologists, we care about hydrologists who do the rivers and the ponds. So we are fully staffed with forecasters and scientists. Under no circumstances am I going to let public safety or public forecasting be touched.
Besides the new hires, NOAA spokesperson said the agency is also reassigning some field staff and bringing in temp workers for the offices with high vacancy rates.
What a disaster, and this will continue to be a story that we will track because I'm not sure he knows what he's talking about. All right, we are talking about the potential for severe weather tonight. We've already seen a couple of hail-producing thunderstorms dropping into Weld County out of Wyoming, 1-inch diameter hail. We had just enough sunshine today to boost temperatures into the 70s, but that warmer weather trend has also set off a line of thunderstorms. And we have a couple storms developing over the west and southwest metro area. Penny-sized hail has been reported, and this cell, while not severe, bears watching. The potential for heavy rain, additional hail, and even some wind damage is possible as this line of storms comes out of the foothills. We saw this cell drop 1-inch diameter hail in Cheyenne outside of Grover and Raymer, tracking toward the southeast, and a couple of severe cells down in Las Animas County as these storms are also moving toward the northeast. For the most part, the severe weather threat is south of Denver tonight, but we still have to watch it. Castle Rock down to the New Mexico line, and then tomorrow, more widespread severe weather potential across the Front Range and Eastern Plains. Temperatures in the 60s now, dropping into the 50s over the next 2 hours, and we'll continue to watch as these storms cross the metro area. Some redevelopment before things calm down after about 9 o'clock tonight. Areas of patchy fog tomorrow, and then we do it all over again, and these storms could be a bit stronger as they cross into Denver around 3 o'clock. Your 7-day forecast includes highs near 70 again tomorrow and Friday. Scattered storms, some severe, possible both days. Warming and drying trend timed well for the weekend. Sunshine near 80 both Saturday and Sunday.
People look at our theater and they don't see the beauty of the art. They see a DEI theater, which to me, that's not who we are.
An arts program that celebrates the talents of Coloradans with disabilities well, that makes them a target of the Trump administration twice over. Hey, a reminder, you can catch Next streaming each night, 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus. And if you'd prefer not to look at me, Next is a podcast each weeknight, wherever you find those. Arts organizations across the country have really been hurting since President Trump called for the elimination of the National Endowment for the Arts earlier this year. Theater company in Denver lost one grant. They expect to lose more, and they're really feeling the impact because of their work with Coloradans with disabilities.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
All right, let me see.
This is from our production of Alice in Wonderland. Alice, played by Kennedy Isaac, is meeting the caterpillar, played by Keenan Gluck. They are two actors in wheelchairs. Family Theater Company is the longest running disability theater in the United States. I am a disabled director whose work has always focused on artistically rigorous theater for the disabled community. People look at our company and they say, oh, how sweet, let's clap for the nice little disabled folk. And then they start realizing, oh, these storytellers have the most interesting stories because they have gone through things in life that the rest of us just kind of haven't had to go through. For the past 25 years, we've been funded federally through the National Endowment for the Arts. And we recently just found out that money that had been promised to us this year is going away, and there's a very small chance that we will get that funding that we've gotten for 25 years in the upcoming years. It roughly makes up about 10% of our budget, and so losing 10% of your budget seems like a small number, but it can be catastrophic to a nonprofit like ours. In the end, not funding us does nothing really to this huge $1 trillion deficit. But to our artists and to us, it means the world. So I have a sign over my desk that says, totally f***ed. It is a song from Spring Awakening. I would say it used to be a joke that I had it over my desk, and it is suddenly becoming much less and less funny.
Sad situation. Marilyn has your feedback. I'll have it for you next. Your generosity is once again fighting hunger in Colorado. This week in Douglas and Elbert counties particularly, through the work of Help and Hope Center. That nonprofit provides food, clothing, other essentials to people who have fallen on hard times. As demand for their services has grown, the nonprofit has had to limit just how often people can come in for help. Together, we are going to allow them to assist even more Coloradans in need. And this week, our donations are going to be doubled, up to $30,000, thanks to a generous matching gift in the community. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get the link to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in donating and having those donations doubled. Vito writes in tonight with praise for Kathy Sabin's concerns about NOAA staffing headed into hurricane season. Vito writes, all I can say is preach, Kathy, preach. And about our word of thanks microgiving, dad named Chris writes in tonight to say, love the show, but love the messaging more for what you're willing to do. Chris says, and I'd love for my kids to be a part of this. Call us tonight at the end, and he says, I'll match your $500. I'm not big on bets and dares, but yeah, let's do it. I'm going to give him a call right now, and we're going to get this thing matched. Thank you for giving. We're going to do a lot of good for folks in need in Douglas and Elbert counties this week through Word of Thanks. Let's see if I can reach these kids. I'll see you next time.